Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a world exclusive. I have the real reason why Chantel Blake McCalla had been murdered by her husband, how her body had been treated after death, and the things that Shane McCalla did leading up to her murder. Guys, I managed to find somebody who had interacted very close with Chantel. And this individual has fed me some information, some of which might not even be known to the police. And some are known to the police but has not been made public until today. First of all, everybody had thought that the reason why Chantel was killed by her husband was because she wanted to leave him. But that is not the true story. That is an aspect of it, but that was not the trigger that caused her to die. What has been borne out is that when Chantel had gotten pregnant with her last baby, child number 4, she had cut herself off from him completely, and emotionally and spiritually. She had even gone to the bank and changed over her and changed her signature from, she used to sign as C. Blake McCalla. And she went in the bank and changed the documents to a new signature which just says C. Blake. Now, when a woman go that far, there's no way to get her back. And here is why. I know some of you girls, you ladies especially, when you are young and in love with a guy and you have it in your fantasy that you would marry him, what you do? Sometimes you know his last name, and if you name Mary Brown, I'm named John Thompson, you always try to write Mary Thompson to see how it look, how it sound, how it look, and some of you even go as far as making the signature because you have this spiritual connection and you want to be close to this person and you fantasize about carrying their name. You will go that far. Now, in reverse, Chantel Blake McCalla had become so disconnected, so extremely disconnected from her husband that she would not even write the name on her signature. She went and changed it. She had even said that she was going to change it. She told this individual that she was going to change it on her driver's license, but she was waiting on the divorce because she just wanted to get rid of the name as much as she wanted to get rid of the man. Well, you see, after the lot of fussing and fighting and daily war between them in the house and at the office, Chantel had decided to leave and take her young baby with her. Shane said, "No, you cannot go, you cannot leave. I will not allow you to leave with the kids. If you want to leave, go by yourself." And he promised to give her $3 million if she would just pack up and just leave and just go away. But Chantel wasn't prepared to give up her kids. She loved her children too much, and she's too much of a mother to ever give up her children. So she refused the offer. Bear in mind, that Shane McCalla had a first son before he met Chantel. And he now has full custody, not legal custody, but basically he has full parental custody of that child. And how he did it, when he met Chantel, he paid the first son's mother $1 million to just walk away so that he could move on with his life and their kid's life, their child's life, and move on into Chantel's life. And the mother of that son walked away. They still remain friends, but she was willing to walk away for $1 million, and she did it. However, Chantel was not prepared to walk away for any amount of money from her kids. So he told her, well, all right, if you won't walk away, I am going to disgrace you and make you look like an unfit mother and take you to court and get custody of the kids. And she knew that Shane McCalla, when him say something, he mean it. But it's just, and she knew he was prepared to do that and would have done it. She'd never taken of his threat at face value. It's just that this time, Chantel decided to fight back. She said to him, all right, listen, if you try to take my kids, or if you try to make me look like I'm an unfit mother, I am going to mash up your dolly house. Now, what dolly house was she talking about? Well, it seemed that Chantel knew that Shane McCalla was doing some shady business. What he was doing, when he picks up government checks for huge contracts from the Ministry of Health or any other government contracts, what he would do, he would give a percentage of that back to, as pay a percentage of it back to a certain company. In other words, it's a kickback scheme. And Chantel knew about it because she was the accountant. And as the accountant who was signatory to the checks that go to that company as kickback, she said, listen, if you don't let me leave with the kids, I am going to mash up the entire Dolly house. If you don't let me go, I'm going to send in the authorities to view everything and scrutinize all your books and everything. And this is what she told him. Because in other words, she knows his secret. Now, Shane, this cramped Shane, because he realized now that Chantel knew too much and she could stalk him and stalk anybody else in the government who those monies were being paid to. Now, the person who had passed on certain information to me, this is one of the checks that they had sent to me. And as you can see, Chantel Blake McCalla's signature is just signed there as S. Blake. This, of course, is her authentic signature. In order to protect the person, the whistling bird, who spoke with me and gave me this, I've hidden the date and I've hidden the name of the company because these documents these things are not public and only a few people would have had access to something like this. But what I can say at this point is that this organization is a paper organization. It doesn't do anything except, act as a kind of conduit for illicit funds. And it has an address in the Towers and Dominica Drive in New Kingston. So this is the building where this company is. I tried to go there and go on the floor, and I went on the floor, and the office the suite that contains it is a blank. It just have on a number. There is no name, no nothing there. So I assume that yes, it's a paper company. Anyway, how all this come to light is that Chantel was looking for somebody to hand the checks to and say, listen, if anything happened to me, make these public and let people know that this was the reason why I go missing. But the person who spoke with me, they said, no, Shane know me. And me not able for him, me not able. So this person decided not to be the one who take responsibility for keeping all the evidence. So the person suggested her, why don't you talk to one of your family members, call one of your sister, call your mother, call her uncle, call somebody, and hand it over to them. Chantel said, listen, I can't talk to any of my family because if I tried talking to any of my family members, you see, Shane has an app on his phone and he somehow linked it to my phone. And anytime he knows all my family members' numbers, and if I call any number or call any strange number that he doesn't know, he knows. And he starts to question it, and that will cause a lot of arguments when I get home. So I have to just abandon my family because I can't even talk to them. In other words, there is no way Chantel could have reached even her own family to communicate with them to let them know what she was going through in the last half. But she eventually handed those things to somebody, and somebody right here in Jamaica has all that evidence. But for some strange reason, they are sitting on it, and hopefully they will come forward or get in touch with me so I can flesh out this thing some more. After all those conversations had passed, Shane became very, very calm. He stopped fighting with her for the most part, and he tried to be as nice as he could. He niced her up, and for a while, there was no argument in the house. In the months, maybe 8 months or so, leading up to her demise. She was even able to tell some people in her, the main person who I spoke with, that things seem to be going well because Shane seemed like he's a changed man. But the poor thing didn't realize that this was just a manipulative technique that he was using to lure her in so he could take her life. Boy, the man sweet her up so nice that he even convinced her to make him, give him the power of attorney to sell a piece of property that they own jointly in Atlanta, Georgia. He wanted her dead, and he knew that he needs the property after she is dead. Therefore, he forced her or coerced her into giving him power of attorney over the property to sell it. The date of the signing of the document was the 17th of November 2021. And according to the document, this power of attorney would end on the 16th day of February 2022. In other words, there was only 3 months in which Shane would have the power of attorney. After that time, the document and the agreement giving him power would automatically cease to exist. So he had just that small window in which to do what he did. If you guys were to bring up the document, you can read it in its completion and you can understand exactly what had taken place or what was taking place here. So he didn't want the power of attorney to end while she was still alive, because once she dies, certain changes would affect what he can do with the property. So he had up until February 15th to do what he had to do, but he couldn't wait too long. On the 6th of January, she disappeared. So you see, he knew exactly what he was doing. So him sweet her up, lure her in, coerce her into selling the property, and so him can cut all ties and then him get rid of her. Now guys, here is the kicker. Look at this picture. This is a picture. This is the only thing that Chantel Blake McCalla's family got back to show of her or to use at our memorial service. This is all they got, the family got back. Look at it. The other parts of her body is kept in storage as evidence, because some forensic pathologists might need to look at this, look at the bones again and make notes and bring evidence if the case ever goes to trial. Now guys, I want you to look closely at the piece of bone. Look closely. Those are some really, really smooth cut. Those are not breaks. Those are not something we break. You notice it's not an axe, do this to a chamber or anything. It's not a lash. They are smooth, straight slices right through. And look at the striation marks. When it says striation marks, you can see the lines that the saw blade makes as it passes through. In other words, this was done with something like a band saw in a meat shop. So it is clear that this man just chamber her up into very small pieces and wrap the pieces into the blanket that it was found with, and then just carry it go dump where it was dumped. Now, can anybody imagine how the family feel holding up this little piece of bone? This look like piece of the femur or the arm tibia. Now, any man who can look at his wife, mother of his 4 kids, and just because he can't blackmail her or coerce her or buy her out, him do this to her and stand up over her and chamber her up in this way? Man, you have to be an extra special kind of evil. Now, why was Shane McCalla's vehicle that he drive, not tested for blood? As with all the way this body was treated, there would have had to be some blood leak somewhere in the vehicle when it was being transported. Now, this is Shane's vehicle. Well, I'm not quite sure what it is, but it could be a Toyota Hilux, Toyota Tacoma, or a Nissan Tundra. But it's one of those vehicles. The police should have confiscated the vehicle and tested it for blood using luminol or something to spray it down in the dark and look for traces of blood. Because to the way his house should have been, they should have used luminol all over the house and the office and anywhere property that he owned to see where he go chamber up and cut her into tiny pieces like that. But none of that was done. What I'm saying also is that now that he is overseas, where is that vehicle? Where is this vehicle that we're looking at here? Suppose if maybe it's still working in the company and maybe it's still in his name, or maybe it has been sold. But I'm quite sure that even if this vehicle has been sold, it can be traced and to the new buyer, and they will still, even after all this time, they will be able, if they spray this vehicle down with luminol, any trace of blood can be traced back, and DNA sample, the level of technology that we have now, we could prove if we find traces of blood or any sort of material, biological material, we could trace it back to her and we would have a case. Why was this not tried? Sadly, all the family members and all the well-wishers, because she was well-loved from she was growing up as a child, and everybody who knew her from school days to adulthood and who worked with her, they came to her memorial service. And this little plaque is all that was buried in the family plot. And this piece of bone was just buried underneath it. Can you guys imagine that? Oh, and here's the kicker. Here is the kicker. When her body was found and everything, to this blessed day, Shane has not contacted the authorities. He has not contacted her parents. He did not send a wreath. He did not send a word of condolence to anybody, nor participated in her funeral in any way, shape, or form. It is as if Shane McCalla did not exist. You can have your wife and your wife dead. Her bones were eventually found, and you don't turn up for her memorial service? Now guys, what do you all think? What do you think? Wanna think Shane innocent? Please let me know in the comment section. Guys, thank you for watching. Like, share, leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video.